We live? People, deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning in each and every time. People, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to sit here and lie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Of course, depending on who you are, wherever you are. I'm out of breath, people. I ran up the stairs, man. I needed a cup of tea before we went live. I just almost spilled it. So you can tell my level of decision making on this Sunday afternoon, people. I'm moving like our centre halves when we were in poor form, but an out of breath deluded is just wants to say, like I said, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and obviously good night, depending on wherever you are in this world. I hope you're all doing well and safe. Hope you're all taking this Sunday, Sunday, whatever it is, all easy and whatnot. You're planning your weeks ahead. And yeah, man, it's been like a day or two, but it feels like I haven't been live for a year to you guys. There's not been nothing to talk about really and truly. So why force it? But it's nice to see you lot are locked in. Yeah. What are you lot saying in the comments, man? King Gabs is saying, let's go. He's also saying he needed this today. It's comments like that gas me. Young Mizzy is saying DG's moving like Kante with the work rate. Big up. I appreciate that, my guy, especially because I don't feel the work rate's been a bit mad in the last couple of days. Sometimes you lot are like raw, and I'm like, okay, it probably is, but it's been a lot more. Big up James Reese, What are you saying? Locked in, been busy with A levels, have missed a few lives, but watching your vids. My guy, you're better in your life, man. The videos are going to be there. That's the greatest thing about YouTube. How have I been? I've been good, man. I've been bored. Really, international football's been a bit dead. I haven't been too impressed with the under-21s championship. I thought I was going to see more. Like, who played yesterday? What was it? Italy and Spain? I could be wrong. I'm sure it was them. It was 0-0, and it was a bit of a bore, really and truly. There's talking points for other reasons. Haven't been too impressed with that. Obviously, I haven't got to take time off, really, because obviously tomorrow or Tuesday, you lot are going to get your under-21s and under-23 updates, do little videos around a couple Arsenal stuff. And, next week it's Arsenal-Liverpool. You'll get a lot of content revolving around that. Have I been watching the international games? Nah, man. It's dead. Like, obviously, I watched the last England game. Sadly, I watched the England game. Like I just said, I've been watching a bit of under-21s, but in terms of World Cup qualifiers and all those sort of things, my guy, not really interested. I'll be real, man. I'm one of them guys. You see, when it's Euros and World Cup and Copa America and AFCON and whatever, when it's a serious thing, then like I'm all for it. But I find I really struggle to get behind these mid-season friendlies and all of these sort of things. Like King Gabs has said, it's dead, man. It's absolutely dead, man. England under 21s effing about as well. Gives a bit of, we see the England under 21s at this moment in time. I'm not going to lie. I'm getting the vibes of England 2006 in that there's a bunch of good players not really knowing what's going on, can't play together for whatever reason, look like a bunch of individuals, and got a manager who's not cut up to task, man. Gooner has said, trust me, I support New Way. This break is hard, my guy. I see you lot lost to Turkey, so I know Turkish is somewhere celebrating. Jamaica lost to America as well, so it's unfortunate. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. And yeah, you are on time. I thought, let me do it a bit later. I thought, let me do this in the morning. Then I thought, it's Sunday. Let me let people, kind of get ease into their day before I come and waffle about Arsenal and things. Obviously, in a bit, we're going to get on to Fekir. We're going to talk about indirectly Odegaard. I've got bits and pieces of the article in relation to Torreira and the guy in the thumbnail and the headline. We're going to get into that. Please make sure you've hit the like button. I see there's 77 of you locked in. Get your Lucas Torreira, get all your opinions in anyways, man. I know I'm saying I ain't been watching football. What have you lot been finding out, man? What have you lot seen? What have you lot, heard? What rumours are you lot paying attention to? Who's caught your attention in the international break? It is what it is. International break provides me time to reflect why you still support Arsenal. To be fair, we're stuck in that bondage, in that, we're crying about the international break being, coming and whatnot and interrupting the season. The minute we start playing, we might say, why did this happen? So it's almost been, we've been kind of cool to feel a bit sane because, like I said, next week is showtime, really and truly. With whatever you say about Liverpool, I think it's going to be the Liverpool of old for those 90 minutes. It's been brought forward 24 hours. Obviously, depending on how you look at the game against West Ham, you say courageous comeback. You could say 2 points dropped. I look at it on the sense of, we messed around in that game with drop points. We gave ourselves no insurance going into this Liverpool game. It's going to be a tough game. So, yeah, man, next week we're back on. Omar is saying there's only 30 likes. Come on, people. Come on, man. So yeah, please get your Lucas Torreira opinions in. We're gonna crack on in a bit. I see people are saying get rid for 15 million, the lowest. What else has been said? Someone else said it would love Lucas back. Same. Nice and early. How are you, Deluded? AJ, I'm good, man. I'm good. I've missed you guys, really and truly. You know, it feels like I've been about. No content came around yesterday. Friday there was minimal. You know, it feels like I've been away. You know, for me, I've been trying to set up the football manager sort of stuff. So make sure you're following on Twitch, people. Deluded Gooner 187, because I'm gonna need you lot's help to get that one going, and because I just damn right don't have a clue about anything about Twitch. I'm aiming to do it primarily on Twitch. You know, I might do little bite-sized YouTube videos and things. Might make a separate YouTube channel because, you know, you know, it is what it is, but I don't want it, you know, I want it to, like, if the gaming thing could be separate and whatnot. This is where I need you lot's opinion. You lot of the community, what works, what don't work. Of course, I'm going to learn by self-explanatory, but it is where it is, man. Yeah, so man, keep your opinions coming in, get the rest of it in. Big up yourself. Julian is saying Lucas has a place in this Arsenal team. You know, Jay is saying I think Arsenal is a backup plan. Jaden is saying would take Torreira. He's a profile we don't really have. Omar is saying kind of what I'm gonna touch on is and saying Arteta don't really rate him. Get your opinions in. Very diverse opinions. C saying like he can go. Hates London life. You're on fire, man. RP is saying, just check in. Where's the Szoboszlai hype gone? Well, based on Arsenal fan, you're right, you know. You're right, you know. Even me, I'm guilty of that because I was all on the Szoboszlai hype train in the same way I was on the Hour one, in the same way I'm on the Odegaard one. And I'm sure there's been a couple of other hype trains and Arsenal players, Arsenal fans have romanticized about signing for this club. Szoboszlai was one of them. And hey, that's a great shout. It's making me scratch my, because even me, I'm sure he's been, obviously bulk of it is because he's moved. You know, we thought we had a chance. January, it didn't happen for whatever reason. And I think he's had an injury. I'm not too sure. Admittedly, I ain't been paying too much attention, but I'm sure he had an injury that's keeping him / kept him out for a minute. That might explain, but my guy, the best case scenario is to just type his name in Google and get clued up, because I don't know any of that for a fact. C is saying, I just don't genuinely believe he wants to play for Arsenal. Very different Lucas Torreira comments, the real captain. Ooh, I got a bit of a controversial take on that. I agree with you, but in terms of, is the best player necessarily the best for the team? I don't know. To play devil's advocate, and again, don't get your shotgun and shoot me because I'm just playing devil's advocate. 100% agree with that, my bro. But you see, beyond all the stuff I'm going to get into, and we've heard about Lucas Torreira with the, you know, he's not cool in London, you can't adapt, and all of those sort of things. If we just from a footballing point of view, I think Lucas Torreira can play, like, can get a ball off a centre half and play. But we heard Arteta had concerns about that. Bearing in mind, Arteta was a midfielder. We had concerns about that. We all have a million concerns about Xhaka, and we could have a whole another hour on that in itself. But we all know Xhaka probably offers a bit more in terms of the passing, and statistically, whether we agree with it or not, he probably offers a bit more. Partey can do what Torreira does and better, really. So maybe Arteta just really didn't rate him, and maybe I believe I'd rather Torreira and Partey together than Xhaka. Obviously, game by game, sometimes it's going to be a low block, but I think that's why I don't think Arteta was looking at it and saying, okay, cool, you know what, it might be a Xhaka and Partey. I mean, it might be a Lucas Torreira and Partey thing, in the same way United away we saw El Nene and Partey. I don't think he believed in that partnership long term, and neither do I necessarily. And whatnot. So he's kept faith in Xhaka. El Nene's prepared to sit on the bench and be cool. Partey was coming in together with Torreira, probably not being settled here is probably what made the difference. But I agree with him being the better player, and he has a place in my team every day of the week, personally. But at the same time, is the better player necessarily better for the system? If I just go based on what I've heard as an Arsenal fan reading the stuff, I'd imagine that Torreira ain't got a place, because there's now two managers who's kind of moving iffy over you, really and truly. You know, and it didn't really work out under Emery in your second year. So again, well, three managers in Simeone now, obviously previously Arteta and Emery, and at some point we're gonna get into it. Like you've got me going, captain, and we're gonna get into it. But at some point, we have to all take responsibility in our lives. And if if I go on the second season, whether I think Emery was a madman or not, because we all know he tried to make him a number 10. Whatever happened in that year, and I go with Arteta, and obviously you're not playing under Simeone, and I only started 3 times in the league. You know, they've signed other players, they've gone through different bouts of form. Surely there's something Torreira's not doing, because we all heard, you know, Spain is set up for him, Simeone's the guy for him, all of this sort of stuff. So at some point, I think you have to take responsibility. It's like Aubameyang, you know, it's a bit different, but we used to give Aubameyang and other players luxuries, like, oh, he's playing on the left, he's playing on this, he's playing on that. Everything must be true and can be true, but at the same time, you need to ask, okay, cool, why aren't the variables you can control, why aren't you? Because there's no smoke without fire, in my opinion. I can say he's hard done by and all of this, but there's a problem. Man said, DG, have you set up your new light? And I guess you've seen my package come on Instagram from Amazon. Not yet, my guy, not yet. I haven't had time. There half an hour. It came at 1:30 today. Didn't quite have enough time, my bro, to do that and pattern this, but we'll get on that. S is saying Arsenal fans get overhyped about everybody. So everyone, Twitch is a gold mine once you get going on there and reach the partner program. I hear that, T, but to get there, I'm going to need you lot to subscribe and support up the thing and all those sort of things, people. So, yeah, man, he has had injuries, but at the same time, you've only started 3 times this season, assuming you're talking about Torreira and not Fekir, people. P is saying post YouTube shorts on your Twitch gaming that could potentially will send people to Twitch. I completely messed it up. You're saying do it on you. Yeah, I get you, my guy, man. Deluded gaming, personally, yeah. So yeah, man, you lot are saying that. I big up everybody, man. There's been 12 minutes or so, and there's 153 of you locked in. I'm appreciating everything we've got going on. Please make sure you hit the like button. DG with the mad work rate, appreciate you guys, appreciate it. But let's crack on with this Torreira business, because you lot have set me off, so we might as well carry on. And obviously, I read it via The Athletic, so I've not shared all of the article, but bits that I deem worthy or what to talk about or things you can get the base about. I don't know why this says TYT. This is just meant to say Sunday's live stream, but it is what it is. And then, you know me, I love a timestamp. So what's 12 minutes and 8 seconds? Let's say 9 for sure. Torreira. As you lot can see here, people, courtesy of The Athletic that I pay for, if any of them can hear me, shout out to you guys. You do a good job. And like I said, I haven't shown everybody this. It's just a little bit for them copyright warriors. But as we've gone on, people, like you can see here, people, when Arsenal obviously loaned Lucas Torreira to Atletico Madrid last year, October, we did so without a fixated fee for a permanent transfer, for a variety of reasons. Maybe Arsenal didn't want that. Things can change, like with El Nene. Maybe Atletico, because of COVID, couldn't commit. Maybe neither party knew how it was going to turn out. And for me, that gave me encouragement, because obviously, going into, everybody's a genius in hindsight, but looking at it prior, I was looking at it as cool, you know, Torreira, whether he's happy or not, you know, we all thought if he got a new team and played some games, clearly his transfer value would go up. We didn't think 12 months or so beyond, arguably his value could decrease, because as I said, as much as I feel he's hard done by, people that want to buy him might look at it, even in the Italian teams that wanted him on loan, they might say, listen, all right, cool, he weren't playing at Arsenal. Why has he gone to Atletico, where his footballing DNA fits them like a glove? And he's not playing, you know. He weren't playing at Arsenal. He's managed to get into an even, I wouldn't say worse situation, because they're doing better than us, but a worse situation in terms of an asset point of view. He managed to depreciate a bit more, in my opinion, because we all thought he was hard done by. Initially, we thought it was a bit of bewilderment, how somebody who, I won't say set the scene on fire, but for Arsenal fans, and definitely me, I was shameless with it. I was loving Torreira, you know, putting his foot in. I was there drunk off my head at the Emirates singing the Lucas Torreira songs. I was loving it, you know. And then the 12 months that followed, we saw a manager try to make him a 10. And again, we felt he was hard done by. And as I was saying a bit earlier, you know, he's gone under Arteta. For whatever reason, he's not playing. Personally, I think it's just a sporting decision, you know, but just to humour you lot, there's been a variety of reasons. He's not happy in London. Arteta thinks tactically he's not the midfielder for him. He wants to leave, you know, he just doesn't rate him. There's many sort of things, and you know, you're not playing at Arsenal, you found your way to Atletico. That's a fantastic move, in my opinion, especially with a manager that plays that sort of football, and him being South American and having South Americans with you, and it being a Spanish-speaking country. It seemed like a match made in heaven. Even more so, I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm sure throughout this article, he speaks on how one of his family members is from Spain and stuff like that. But, you know, it was in our best interest. He plays well. He becomes central to their system. We get somebody that they might say, cool, we want to buy him, or other teams want to buy him and things like that. It hasn't quite happened. And right now, there's probably only going to be cut price offers for him, probably, you know, a lot of loans from Italian clubs. I would personally like to use him because I've said it before. You know, I do think, you know, if you've got Partey and Torreira, I'm not a fan of playing both of them week in, week out. If we're playing against a low block, clearly you don't need both. But I want that option. If not Torreira, I want another number 6, because as I said then, and I'm saying now, when Partey is injured, we're back to square one. You know, I want an option to be used with Partey instead of Partey, because we can't keep doing this thing where we rely on man, you know, where we sign one man and we think, you know, we're assuming Tierney's going to be fit his whole life at Arsenal, which, yeah, you know how that worked out. You need a backup left back. You relied on Aubameyang too much. You're not sharing out the goals with all the wingers and the other strikers and things. You see the picture, and there's many other examples. You know, we over relied on Koscielny at centre half. To a degree, we could say we're doing that over David Luiz. We need options, you know. We need two. In an ideal world, you want 2 of every position. Easier said than done. And for me, there was just, away from him not being cool here and things, just looking at it from a sporting point of view, I think Torreira could have done something in this team. With all the other things in place, and if it is to be said what fans are to believe, that he weren't comfortable here, his wife and family weren't happy, he weren't happy, you know, for whatever reason, then I agree with what the club's done. You know, no matter how good you are, if you don't want to be here, you know, it is what it is. And beyond everything, because of what we've been through as a football club, we just need some motivated individuals who want to be here and try and start the movement to returning us to being a consistent top 4 club. Anyone that don't want to be here, there's an issue. We heard he trained well. We heard he didn't kick up a fuss. So maybe his heart weren't in it. So maybe if his heart's in it again, it is what it is. As you can see here, apparently Arsenal hoped 12 months of regular football and the possibility of a pandemic subsidizing and fans returning to stadiums might put them in a position to strike a better deal. Now, again, like with Guendouzi, which is another thing in itself, and even the loan players and just bringing in a midfielders, our situation is clouded. Now, how many can you really bring in a centre midfielder without getting rid of players? I think yes, and I also think no. So one has to wonder, with all the people we've got on the books and all the question marks, how much people are going to have to move before we bring people in, especially at this moment in time. We don't know if we're even in Europe, full stop. Hope we are. As we all know, we FA Cup saved our bacon last year, you know, and that tipped the balance for getting Partey, amongst other things. But it is what it is. The gamble, actually, look, no, I'm not going to carry on reading this. We all know, you know, the gamble didn't pay off. Fans didn't come to the stadium and whatnot. And for Torreira, there's got to be some reason. Now, at the start of the season, when Atletico was doing well, they signed Kondogbia, they were really flying. You can say, you know what, you're just not the man in it. But when they've kind of had a wobble that they're having a wobble, and the one consistency has been, you have been their El Nene, essentially, playing minuscule minutes historically at the club this year. There's got to be something you're not doing. Why isn't Simeone? Maybe it is true what they're saying, that, they're not playing him to decrease his value because they're not happy over Partey. I hear that. That's logical and that's somewhat petty. But if I look at it from a logical point of view, that's cutting off your nose to spite your face, because you might have bad blood with Arsenal, but at the same time, you've still paid a loan fee for Torreira, so you're wasting your own money if you're making him sit down. And from a manager's point of view, if I genuinely believe this player can help me week in, week out and gives me a strong chance, I'm not going to do that. So I don't know why. I'm just taking it at face value and saying, Simeone's looking at you in training, you know, you're not doing something in it, because all we heard was many reasons as to why this is a perfect fit for him and he's not playing. And especially when he's got 2 years left on his deal and we're going to need to make a decision. I would, you know, again, if he wants to be here and he's seen that, you know, I can settle in Arsenal, then I'll give him a spot in the team. If not, he needs to be one of the first people out, purely because he's one of the few players that can get a decent value. And midfield is a crucial area for me anyway. So the quicker we sort out who's staying and who's going, the quicker I can see what looks like a top 4 contending top midfield, and I don't believe it is. The depth isn't there, you know. So Ceballos and Odegaard aren't our players. If we look at it from a quality and Odegaard's point of view, depth in terms of Ceballos, they might not be here. El Nene's got 2 years left on this deal. You need to make a decision. Joel Willock and Maitland-Niles. Obviously, there's a homegrown aspect in relation to keeping or selling them that we have to consider, but we don't know what's happening. Matteo Guendouzi, for me, who's going to be sold, is someone we need to speak about. Apparently the players, and also we need to remember in January this loan could have been cut short, but apparently the situation has left the players camp baffled. Simeone's pitch had played a key part in persuading Torreira to move to Madrid. It was not too difficult. Again, it's gone on to say as to why, but again, you know, the manager, again, if the manager's pitched, again, obviously a manager's going to help try to sign a player, but if he's pitched it to you and now he's not playing you, there's got to be something, whether that's the mentality, whether that's how you're training. Maybe it's hard to believe because he's barely played, but in the opportunities he's got, maybe he didn't think it is, people. So it is what it is in that regard. Scrolling down as well, people, as you lot said, like I said earlier, there was a bit of, you know, family orientation to moving to Spain and playing in Spain. Apparently Torreira had wanted the move since he first arrived in Europe at 17. His grandfather was born in Spain and he'd always aspired to play in La Liga, as you would. During the last summer window, Torreira spoke of a move to, you know, to Atletico as a dream. It has turned out to be anything but. While winning a regular place in Simeone's plans remains Torreira's priority in what remains of the season, he appears to be fighting an uphill struggle. Again, we want our man to start playing, so we'll always back him. Apparently, relations between Arsenal and Atletico were damaged by the manner in which Arsenal triggered Thomas Partey's release clause late in the summer window, as we've heard. Some sources to speculate as to whether Atletico might be choosing not to play Torreira to deflate his transfer value. For their part, Atletico say that selection decisions rest with Simeone and are made on technical grounds. Now, obviously, you can't rule that out because that's petty, and in business gets petty. Maybe they genuinely aren't paying him to do that because of we shagged them and left them. You know, they had to buy Kondogbia out of the transfer window sort of boundaries sort of thing. So maybe there is an element like that. But like I said, crucially, if you're Simeone and we take it at face value, you have an excellent chance of winning the league ahead of Madrid and Barcelona for a mixture of you playing well and a mixture of them messing about. I know Barcelona are having a bit of a mini revival, which could give case to what I'm about to say even more. If you believe Torreira can help you, or Torreira's a better option than whether that's Llorente, Kondogbia, these people who have had decent form this year, you're going to play him. So there's something he's not doing, or there's some reason, because like I said, there's Simeone now, there's Arteta, and there's Emre in his second season. I can't understand why Arteta don't want to use him. I don't know what Emre was on with trying to make him a 10. And in relation to Simeone, I don't know what he's on. So I stand with Torreira, is my immediate thought. But then when I remove my bias towards Torreira and I look at it, people, again, 3 people can't be wrong. Maybe they all are, as football is. You know, Jamie Vardy took how long to play Premier League football? So several scouts and coaches got it wrong. But at some point, surely there's something Torreira isn't doing, or as to reason as to why they don't want to use him consistently. I don't know. I just have a duty to be devil's advocate with you guys and not just give you my opinion. You know, as we know, teams from Spain and Italy addressed interest in January. We heard Simeone's competitor in Villarreal and managed by former manager Arteta's Torreira's former manager in Emre was interested. We keep hearing the Torinos and these sort of teams emulating from Italy. We also have to remember Napoli were heavy on this case, and one has to wonder: does he sit there and think, "Rah, maybe I should have went there"? But it is what it is. But as you lot know, you know, it wasn't able to do it. Arteta said back in January, we've been speaking to Lucas. Edu has been very close to the situation. He hasn't played as many minutes as we would like, but to be fair, the team's doing well in Spain and it is understandable they don't change the team so much. Again, kind of alluding to what I said. He said, we just want to be right behind Torreira, protect him, help him make the right decisions for the future. The expectation is that some of Torreira's suitors will return in the summer, which is good for Arsenal because I'm sure if we can break even on Torreira and put on a sell-on clause, regardless of what I'm saying or you're saying, the club will take that. Similar towards, if we can make a tiny, handsome profit on Lucas, on Guendouzi with a year left, they'll take it and add it in towards whatever they're doing, whether that's trying to get Odegaard permanently, bringing in a centre-half, a left-back, a right-back, hopefully, or addressing the area in central midfielder, in a central midfield. So yeah, and it is what it is in that regards, people. Apparently, if his playing time improves, there are barriers to that. Not least the fact that this week he's had to return to Uruguay to deal with a family illness. And I could be wrong, people, but I'm sure there's Copa America this year. Now I'm not too sure. Does Torreira want to get the deal done, whether he's staying at Arsenal or going and sorting out his future before he goes to play for Uruguay, assuming that there is Copa America, or is he gonna want to wait till after? These sort of things makes our window even trickier. You know, next season, from pre-season to the end of the season, internationals are going to disrupt us. As we know, bare people playing in the Euros. AFCON is going to cut through next season as well. You know, even Olympics, if Martinelli's there. So from a training and sorting out futures point of view, we need to decide what we're doing. Under 21s Euros as well. Also, the Athletic has been told that Torreira would actually be happy to return to the Emirates, but only if he felt he would be given chances to play. At 25, obviously, doesn't want to spend any longer on the bench. So for me, this is the crucial part of this, because if Torreira would be happy to return, is it because he's seen the light and said, "Oh, cool, I was moaning about this. I didn't have it so, but I didn't have it." Make sure you're getting the like buttons up, people. Maybe he's thinking, "I didn't have it so bad. It's decent at Arsenal." That might tell me that maybe the rumors of not being settled in London is problems. It is lies and creating unnecessary problems. That also tells me that Arteta potentially doesn't feel you purely from a sporting point of view, because, you know, if Torreira felt the new manager, which initially did, was going to play him and stuff, surely you would stay. So if he's given chances, why not? At 25, I don't think he's the best thing since sliced bread quite as much as I previously did. But I think he can help us purely because, again, he provides depth. He's actually a good player. And it does seem like Arsenal, like, whether you say about Torreira or Guendouzi, they've been better than certain men that are getting more chances. And even with fans kind of turned on the bandman, it's like this club has less patience for players that are actually good than the meaty guys, even if you don't think they're the best thing since sliced bread. There's 251 of you in here. Please make sure that's reflected in the likes. These are my own bullet points, people. My first thought is, as a fan, how committed are you to this being Arsenal's project and what Arteta is trying to do? Because like I said, I don't, until Torreira says it to my face, I don't know the reason as to why it's not working out, why you wanted to leave. If you are committed to this and you say, cool, I'm going to train and do all of these things and I buy into it, then all right, I don't think you're a bad player. I think you can do something. And again, how committed are you to making life work off the field, if that is a thing? Because again, the first year, I'm sure you made it work because we weren't hearing nothing, but off the field, you was clearly struggling. You know, are you prepared to adapt? If not, are you prepared to change your situation? Whether that's, I don't know, do you live in a house, living in a flat, so, you know, you can make more companions and friends, not just you, your wife. Maybe it's moving to a busier or a less busier part of London, whether that's getting out your house or doing other things. To be fair, I don't follow Torreira on Instagram because when he left, it hurt me. I can't lie, people, but he did always used to put up the London Eye and all of these things. So he did used to get about. So if you're committed to patterning up life off the field and you're committed to what Arteta is trying to do, fair play. But I think it relies on what Arteta wants from a tactical point of view. Whatever you say about Torreira, people, if you can find a way for Xhaka and El Nene to kind of buy into this thing tactically, then I don't see why Torreira can't personally. But my personal feeling is it's a mixture of Torreira having these off-field issues and Arteta not really feeling him in midfield. You know, and I also have to remember, like, as much as I'm saying this off-field stuff, I want to reiterate, could he have just been told, I don't want to use you really and truly? And for me, you know, if he stays, that's a 6 that could be used in place or with Partey, and obviously that saves a bit of bob, because I'm saying we need 2 midfielders. If we can bring back Torreira at one of both or one of two of Torreira, one of the two of Torreira and Guendouzi, then that gives us a bit of peace, really, because again, we're going to be quite light for options, and our midfield, there's so much. Even when you look at the contracts, you know, Guendouzi, Torreira, Granit Xhaka, Ceballos, Odegaard, these guys all have contractual problems where decisions are going to have to be made. Again, I want to reiterate, there has to be something you're not doing, Torreira, because 3 men are not playing you as much as it kind of was hitting off. You know, you would have thought Torreira looked like one of those players, you know, whatever manager comes in at Arsenal, however long you're going to be there, you're going to use Saka, Martinelli, Tierney, Gabriel, minimum, you know, they're going to be your guys. I thought Torreira was one of them. As long as he's fit, he can play. Crucially, we're no winners from this, because 2 years from now, he's got 2 years left on his deal. We either need to decide what we're doing, moving him on and keeping him. And for whatever reason, we haven't been helped in the transfer market, people, because he hasn't been playing. So the value hasn't gone up. as you lot know, the Athletics kind of carried on saying what I'm saying, in that we need to sort out the futures over these midfielders. Apparently, we're looking for one, people. As you lot know, he was deemed surplus to requirements last season and probably can't see him returning. You know, depending on how you look at it, he might have more of a chance than sorry people, and to reiterate, there was obviously the language barrier that we've spoken about. He might have more of a chance than Guendouzi, because it might have just been, I'm not settling, and cool, you can come back and fight, wherever Guendouzi had the whole, you know, attitude issue. So I don't know, depending on how you look at it, people. But that's that in relation to Torreira. Again, a lot of futures have to be decided. So again, we can't just wake up in May, June, July, whatever, August, and say, yeah, we need to get a move on. We need to be knowing now what we're going to do. You know, it's a bit like, you know, Maitland-Niles, for example. Every minute Maitland-Niles looks close to going out the door, he has a good little run, or he does a thing in the cup, then he stays. You know, even the latest little run he had, he stayed until Jan, and we all know what happened. We need to cut out these love dramas, and rightly or wrongly, we need to make brave and bold decisions and stand by them. They might not work. Bringing back Torreira might be the wrong thing. Selling Guendouzi might be the wrong thing. It might be the right thing. Half of these things that we talk about, they might be the right or wrong thing, but it just feels like we need to make decisions at this football club and stand by them. It just feels like every year there's a couple of these soap dramas, and every couple of months or games it changes and our opinion changes. We need more confirmations and ultimately more clarity as a football club, as a fan base, you know, with our players. We don't even know what players are going to turn up from a sporting point of view, much less whether he stays or goes. Half these players in this team, there's question marks, whether it's speculation from other clubs, Arteta, whether he likes them or not, or just down to their contracts. There's very few players where there's confirmation over their futures. Ironically, Tierney, Gabriel, boy, as long as this team keeps messing about and Saka's here, you know, there's eventually going to be that, you know, the bigger club circling for Saka. So it is what it is in relation to Torreira, people. Well, that's definitely not what it is in relation to Torreira. But yeah, that's Torreira business, people. What have you lot said? A man said, remember, we could have sold Xhaka for 55 million. Is that true? Could you back that up, my guy? Could you back that up with some proof? Because if that is true, then that's something I didn't know about, and that's a serious L. Let me see what you lot are saying, people. I think Torreira and Partey is a decent midfield combo. I think it's a decent option to have over a 38 game period. Games where we're probably going to concede possession, I'm all for that, or maybe one has to come on. I'm not gonna lie, game in, game out, if we're playing against a low block, then I don't think you should need a Torreira or Partey. And I know Torreira can pass the ball, and Partey definitely likes to shoot and pass the ball. But their strengths primarily are to break down play. But I do think we need two people able to play as a number 6, maybe a goal scoring midfielder, a little number 8 there, a deep line playmaker able to do what Xhaka is doing to a better scale and with less touches. Bro, did we? Bro, I do so much videos. Last time I checked, I'm pretty sure I'm on the 5,000 mark. But big up to you for remembering it, my guy, man. Yeah, the Inter Milan rumors. Clearly, it was just worse, innit? Like, they were just having us on there, innit? You know, I think the closest I've seen Xhaka close to going out the door when he is allegedly going Hertha Berlin. The 2-year deal is the biggest problem for me, and that's it. Because if Torreira does come back and he plays well, like with El Nene, we're going to start talking within 3 games, should he get a new deal? And again, it's going to be another one where we don't know what's going to happen. If he's sold in the summer, he's sold. But if he goes on loan, then we're really hoping he shines and whatnot. But again, we need to make a decision. We're going to get into the Fekir ones, my guy. But I'm just preying through you lots of opinions. What are you saying? Looking forward to having Torreira back next season, to be honest. The battle for midfield will heat up even more, and they'll raise each other's game, hopefully, and assuming they're there. And Anderson saying, DG, you're right, with fans having patience for crap players. Listen, everyone should hold accountability, but it just feels like our better players, or players that are better than some of the things that I see people fanboying against, you know, you don't ride for them. Like, I just want same energy, fam. Like, if you can give Bellerin time, with all due respect, then for me, you can give Aubameyang some time, with all due respect, just to throw that one in, not to make this about Aubameyang. He's the first one that went to my head. I wish you could do an interactive voting poll, because I'd love to know who's in favor of Torreira, who's not really. But Anglo has said, I think Torreira could be really good alongside Partey. The problem is, I just don't think he likes the lifestyle in London, which is England, apologies, which is a shame. So ultimately, and that's it for me, you know, if Torreira says he's down for the cause, you can stay. If not, then I don't, because for me, I don't know about anybody else, but I know we need players that can pass a ball. We need players that are competent. We need players, there's bare things I could say in it. But I think the minimum now, I need players who are switched on and want to be here, and none of this off-field issues. The only off-field issues I want to hear about are the things I don't. Sadly, if something happens in your personal life, you need to deal with that. I'm tired of hearing things in people's personal lives. I just want to know you're going to turn up at London Coley from the Monday to the Friday, do what Arteta is doing, asking you to do, have some accountability in your personal performance, have some real drive to want to be better consistently, so that when me or you or whatever on a Saturday, Sunday, when we're at the Emirates, when we're watching it online, when we're doing whatever, we can just damn right have confidence in these players that get it. Because why do you think we gravitate towards Tini? With all due respect to Tini, because he's the guy, he's playing well, he's a good footballer, I bloody love Tini. But why? Because he reflects us as fans. You can tell that he's working hard in training. You can tell he's not really doing the talking stuff. He's just trying to do what he needs to do. That's why it's easy to get behind Tini and whatnot. But it is what it is, man. I'm sorry, my guy, opinionated Gooner, but don't you think Emre's buzzing? There's bare things you could have done. Remember he was the guy bringing Smith Rowe in, and obviously Smith Rowe weren't ready at that time. But you had Smith Rowe, you had Jeff, you had the beef with Ozil. I'm sorry, but there's bare things you could have done. Then throw Torreira there personally, or you could have just went with a flat midfield. Rather than that, it's dead. Rax is saying Torreira wants to return. All he did while at Arsenal was moan about the weather and wanting to leave. Allow it, bruv. He's done out here. Let's move on. Salute to you, DG. Big up yourself. And I can't blame fans when it's like that, because that's all they've been told at face value, really. Emre did what Sarri did with Kante, playing them further forward to have better ball players deeper. But it looked like he had no clarity in his role. If you're telling him to play further forward and be a ball winner, I can understand it. But it genuinely looked like a bit of that, a bit of the 10 stuff. He's just messing about, man. And it wasn't done consistently. That press wasn't done consistently and coordinated. It's not a press if one man is aimlessly pressing by himself and there's no other actions to coordinate against that. You might not necessarily. Sometimes you see one man pressing, but the people behind him are setting up little traps. I weren't really seeing that. It looked like a man just running about in the same way it did for Ramsey and the same way it did for Joe Willock, man. In those sort of positions. The real captain is saying Torreira, Partey, Odegaard, midfield incoming. Throw our in there, we might forget top four. We might win challenge for the league. Man, throwing Fekir as well. Dreaming is all we've got, man. South London's finest with a sobering bit of truth. He's saying, like Torreira, but for someone who's only cost 20 odd million, he's been a massive headache. And since he's been here from the start, he's had problems. Arsenal should have done their research on him. And that's one thing I find when you look at Torreira and potentially, pardon me, Guendouzi. But saying that, what could have Arsenal done? Because let's remember, this is a Uruguayan who's left as a teenager at 17 years of age to go to Italy. And remember, I've just remembered. Remember, he weren't a defensive mid. He came to Italy. He came to Europe as something else. You remember? Because he said it himself. I can't remember the coach. He said changed him up. So he's been in this scenario before. So I have to wonder, you get me? Like, what's going on? And you've gone to Spain now as well. So Spain, for me as well, I was really banging the drum like, all right, cool, I can understand it. You've got a good team there, and off the field, everything is set up there. So how much of it really is off-field things? It's these scenarios is which I wish there was a way of just being like the player could come out and kind of tell us, because there's bare different things it could be, man. And the opinionated Gooner again, there's no smoke without fire, 100%. Again, this is what I'm saying. Big up yourself, man. I was gassed when we got Torreira. I still believe in Torreira, but at the end of the day, we got no time for sentiment, man. You just got to keep it moving. It can work, but again, what for the games where we don't need that? Like Crystal Palace in the 0-0, where we don't necessarily need that. My point is not to criticize you or say you're wrong. I agree with you. My point is just to keep reiterating my agenda that we need different midfielders that can do things. We can't just have one. And it seems like that, if I know we've got Smith Rowe, but again, there's going to be a time where there's an over-reliance on him. Again, an over-reliance on Saka. There's been an over-reliance on Aubameyang. Now, of course, if you're a good player, meant to be top class, world class, whatever, the team naturally is going to lean upon you and things. But I personally feel it's dangerous. You need players to show their quality, of course. But when your team's heavily relying on and volatile and really riding on if someone's going to have a good game or bad game, it is what it is. Like, you know, even the West Ham game, we relied on Odegaard, Saka, Tierney really waking up, and a couple other man, but waking up and saying cool. And 9 times out of 10 for Tierney and Saka, sometimes they ain't even played amazing, but their 5s and 4s out of 10s are for other man. That's 7, 8s. That's things where we're really rating them. And until we have more consistent man and we're able to do things, then it's a myth. Like even Arteta, you know, sometimes we ask him to change things up, and I think sometimes he tinkers a lot. When you do Willian through the 9, this inverted Bellerin stuff, like I think you need the team needs to be of a level to do all of that stuff. Like when you've got them City players, you can do all of that because they're intelligent, they're actually good. But a couple man here have been centre halves their whole life and they don't know all about defending. So you can't make them play defensive mid and right back. And you know, Willian at a point was struggling to do it as a strike, as a 9. I mean, as a winger. So how can he do it as a 9 or a false 9? I'm not criticizing Arteta wholeheartedly. I'm just saying we need to get to a level where there's the competent players where the manager can do them sort of things. You can't do it with half of these players, man. I don't like to be the guy because I don't think just because what I'm about to say means you're not a good player. But how many of these players, if they became available, are people going to take off Arsenal? Even when we was just remember when we used to even get mocked for being a top 4 club? We used to have players that were highly sought after. You know, we're selling Heleb. You know, shout out to Heleb. When we was joke men them times, Heleb's getting a little Barca move. Song, who I felt was extremely overrated, and I know I've crushed a lot of you lot's hearts. You know, Barcelona, we're not doing that. We're not doing it. Xhaka's not getting no random Barcelona move. You know, Bellerin ain't getting no random Barcelona move. Hopefully he does, you know. But and this is just me naming a couple. Please don't think I'm scapegoating Cedric as well to mix it up and things like that, man. Is what it is. Bro, only sentiment when you've got the Halen boys, but even them, you know, I love Nelson. I don't think we should write off Nelson, Joe, or Maitland-Niles already. They might become decent players, but that's what I said at the start, where Arsenal need to start making bold decisions and stand by it. You know, Nelson, we might sell them and there, and them and there might go off and become ballers, but we need to say, all right, cool. You know what, Nelson, you're not developing. You're going to go out on loan. If you don't hit off on that loan, then man have to sell you with a year left. If not, you're going on loan now, sell on clause. You know, hopefully buy back, but sell on clause, little bit of millions there. He might become an England international. But right now, Arsenal needs the money, and Arsenal needs to move in a direction where we can't hold everybody's hand. We're trying to help everybody, and we're not helping anybody. We're not even helping ourselves. We can't afford to pull along Joe, Nelson, Eddie, Maitland, Torreira, Guendouzi, you know, Ceballos even, Bellerin, Xhaka, whether they're here or not, people. So we have to see, man. It is what it is. They need to. We need to make harsh decisions. Obviously, the homegrown thing is a bit political, but it is what it is. I agree with M. I need a right back, man. I need a right back. I'm not as much on the Bellerin hate as some people. I actually think Bellerin's a decent player. I just don't think your levels. I just think if you are to become this Hector Bellerin you was obviously signed to become, it's got to happen elsewhere. I genuinely think if he goes to somewhere else, he'll start looking like that international fullback and potentially one that we was trying to scream one of the best in the league. I don't think it's going to happen here. Like Eddie might become a certified striker. I just think it's not happening here, you know, and these are the sort of things, you know, sometimes it's just not going to happen here for some, man. You know, Jamal Musiala, again, Chelsea are playing young players, but he bust out. He went to Bayern Munich. Would he be in England? England, would he be a German international? Would Yunus Musa be playing for America? Sometimes other things just need to happen elsewhere. Gnabry, I think Gnabry would have been a baller at Arsenal, you know, regardless if he just had a platform to play. But some people might say, you know, the training sort of stuff he's done at Bayern Munich is next level. He might not have hit that height. It might have had to happen. I don't think fans overrate Cedric. I think it's a mixture of the two. I think Cedric highlights, well, speaking for me, I don't think Cedric is the answer. I think he's played well. I just think he highlights what could happen if you just get a competent fullback, you know, a fullback that wants to overlap, a fullback that can come inside and do something like that, a fullback that can show a tiny bit of consistency. You get it? Like, we shouldn't really be, for me, innit? And I was a right back, so I think being a right back's the best position in the world, but there's too much chatting about fullback and that. Like, you see how Tierney's come in? The only things we're talking about, if the man's injured or now we need a backup so we can rest him. We're not talking about, boy, you know, Kolasinac, he's good going forward, but he's a bit of this and that. And Monreal's getting a bit old. We need an X1 and this, that, and the other. And for me, I really want to see right back sorted for me, because right now, you know, I don't have a problem with Chambers staying and being a squad player, but you've got Chambers fighting for that role just based on where he's got opportunities. Maitland is still on paper at our club. Bellerin's there, Cedric's there. There's 4 men there, and I don't believe any are bad, but when I look at it without emotion and I say 38 games, and I'll say to you, look, 38 games. No talk of signing a new fullback, people. Cedric, Chambers, Bellerin, Maitland-Niles, yeah. 38 games minimum, because that's the league. The rounds in Europa. However, the defaults in the FA Cup and the other cups. Put yourselves in this situation. You lot are sat in a chair like this. You're the manager now, yeah? You're looking at your season. You're looking at your positions and saying, yo, this is what I need. Do you lot believe any one of those names I've said over that 38 game period, assuming there's no injuries, they're the guys for you for every game? You 100% believe in that, and that's not a criticism of them. If any of you do say you do, then fair enough. But I think, man, them are lying personally. And again, even Leno, I don't necessarily. You lot have killed me for criticizing Leno previously, and now you lot see a bit of the light. One thing for all my criticisms with Leno, and I look at the mentality of the club. You signed Leno, who he's 29 now. Let's just say he was 27, 26 when he signed. I don't know. I'm just humoring you lot. You ain't really built a decent defense there, because Leno's young by goalkeeper, old enough to stop making these mistakes, but young by goalkeeping stature, right? You ain't really grabbed the two centre halves. You ain't really grabbed the right back. You've got Tierney now, but there hasn't been a back four for Leno, or a collective five, including him, a unit for him to work with properly. Because, like I said, we can talk about players not scoring and why Arteta's not playing Pepe and Laka and all of these things till we're blue in the face and gas about Odegaard, but we're not going to get nowhere if this team can't defend. We're not. Look at the Spurs game, people. We're all on top of them. Who conceded and who had to have a heroic comeback? Do you get it? Like I've given you the example before. If you're fixing up your house, there's no good buying PS5 and elite TVs and jacuzzis and stuff if you ain't got no central heating, no running water, no insulation. It's about the basics. I'm not trying to sound like Delph, but we ain't got the basics consistently. Of course, I want the elite players. Jizzy, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, and I don't know how to change it up to that. I know what you mean. It's a bit too volatile like that, isn't it? Yeah, man. It's like, not to do the Martinez thing, sorry, but it seemed like Martinez was a bit cool of a customer. It seems like Leno can become a bit flustered, and I know what you mean. Remember all the Instagram stuff after, was it Liverpool or something? This is it, bro. This is it. You're buying PS5, but you got no Wi-Fi. You can't use it. You can't get new updates. It's dead, man. To be fair, can you blame Leno? Can you blame him? You got someone's done a madness on my green tea. Apologies. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, man. As always, DG, only consistency is inconsistency with this team, even the lineup. Facts. Well, but there's only so much you can get, yo. I 100% agree with you, and I believe Arteta can be criticized so much, but I feel even with our improvements defending, everyone gasses about Arsenal improving defensively. I'm not saying we haven't. There's a bit more grit, but I always say, just look at the goals conceded when we're conceding them. When that show me it ain't improved, and also when we look at the personnel, with exceptions of a Tierney, of a Gabriel, to a degree Marie, bare man, it's a form thing, really, and they're just going to take us to a glass ceiling. Because no disrespect to David Luiz, and he's not going to be here long, but realistically, and Bellerin, because he's had a good battle form, and even Leno, as much as I was defending him, as much as you've improved defensively, how far can you really get as a good defensive side when you've got Bellerin, David Luiz, Leno in your team, and the mistakes they come with all due respect? You're never going to become them prime Italian sides, are you? It's like having Giroud and Lacazette and somebody in your striking form. No disrespect to Giroud and Lacazette, I put them up for a reason. They're good players, but you're not going to get ridiculous. They're not good. Them two are not going to be good enough to get you the league goals you need to finish the season with a respectable number. They might show their form, but it is what it is. I heard Cedric got an assist for Portugal, and apparently he's starting today for Portugal, people, while our Ghanaian midfielder Thomas Partey is obviously starting as well. Hopefully there's no injuries and there's no problems, man. Appreciate that. Big up the members. I think that Cedric could hold down right back for a season. Fair play. If you genuinely think that, I'm not belittling no one's opinions. I think any of them names I said, I think you could use them as a number 2 with all due respect. But for me, I'm just of the belief now. Cedric ain't really had a chance in it, but he's been in the Prem, and yeah, even Cedric's had little bits and pieces of form. I just want to right back in it, something new now, man. Just a new right back. You lot can battle that. One of you have to stay and battle that right back and all of those sort of things. Because right now, if you're asking me who should start right back, it's probably Chambers, even though I think it should be Cedric. If you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said Cedric. If you asked me 2-3 months ago when we was beating Chelsea, and that would have been like, boy, and a Bellerin, this, that, and the other. If you went back to even before that, I would have been saying, why ain't Maitland-Niles getting in ahead of this guy? Boom, 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 boom. My point is, going through a season, but saying all different sorts of things, and that could be said for centre half as well. My point being, I don't want to keep doing that. You get it? He therefore heard me. Leno, apologies, man. I won't talk on your name. Big up yourself, Paul, man. Fair play. France are winning 2-0. And this is what I'm on, you know. I'm not really on the holding hand thing. Bro, you're wearing agreement. I'm not on the, obviously, you need to do that to a couple players, but I'm not, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm saying where we just have to make some half decisions now. So they might be the wrong or the right decisions, but I respect a team that or anybody that hindsight's a wonderful thing, but they make a decision and they stick to it. It's almost like, we're gonna sell him, but we can't sell him, but we can, but this and that. Make a decision. If it's a mistake, it's a mistake. So it is what it is. We need more than one competent midfielder, my guy, but 100%, man. So it is what it is in that regards. But yeah, that's Torreira. We've gone a bit off topic. Let's carry on with Fekir, people. Now Fekir is somebody I want, you know. Let me see how many videos I've done on Fekir myself, people, if it will actually load. Fekir. I'm sure I was doing the most in terms of propaganda for Fekir. You know, the injury really shagged Fekir, people. Really done him dirty. Should we see where I'm at? That's obviously what it is now. Once it here. We should bid for safe, throw everything we have at signing Fekir, bring Fekir to Arsenal. Hey, 3 years in the making, people. Hey, I was really on the Fekir hype train, did it? Really on the Fekir hype train, people. But it is what it is. Now, should we go with this one first? Let's go with this one first, people, because it's not in English. Mundo Deportivo. Now, as you lot know, Fekir only has 3 goals, I believe, this season, but he's done all right realistically at Real Betis. I can't lie, I didn't think this is how his career was going to be pan out, but he's still a World Cup winner, and he's a very creative player, and he's a player I wouldn't turn down. Apparently, different depending on where you read. It says Arteta wants him as well as Odegaard. It says that he wants him instead. If it can't happen, it is what it is, people. Pardon me. Apparently he's 27. We all know a move to Liverpool didn't work. Apparently he's got 3 goals and 6 assists in 25 games played this season. And he's had a great impact. He's contracted until 2023. So again, in the next year, 18 months, they're going to have to make a decision on him, people. Apparently, we already thought of him as a replacement for Ceballos, who could be returning to Real Madrid. So yeah, obviously it's made it very difficult in terms of that article. Let's switch over to goal.com, people, and Mr. Charles Watts. Hey man, Charles Watts, if you're watching, man, we need to collab with the guy. But as you lot know, people, apparently Arsenal are keeping tabs on Nabil Fekir as a potential alternative to Martin Odegaard. The Gunners have been long-term admirers of the French international and are interested in signing him, interested in him before he moved from Lyon to Real Betis in 2019. As we know, he's had a couple of knockbacks with injuries. He spent the last 2 years in Spain where he's had bits and pieces of brilliance. Like, was it last year? He scored a fantastic effort from like 30 so yards. I'm sure there was also a game against Barcelona. He turned it on. So we know the quality's there. He's a World Cup winner. We all saw what he's doing at Lyon. You know, he scored a lot of good goals. You know, he's a good dribbler. He's a strong ball carrier. He's got the link-up play. He can hit a set piece. We all know the problem has been injuries, and that's probably why his stock has probably fallen. He's rebuilt himself at Real Betis, but as I said, it's hardly mad numbers. I know numbers don't always do it justice, but it is a thing. Isn't this like the 3rd Real Betis player in the recent in recent times that Arsenal have been linked with? So there's got to be something there's no smoke without fire, like the opinionated Gooner said. There's got to be something in it. There's got to be us seriously wanting a player from Real Betis, or it could just be for that very reason of them being the selling club, making these things up, people. Obviously, as we know, our primary focus at the end of the season will be to try and find a way of keeping Odegaard, who is on loan. We don't have a clause, so we're going to have to talk over a loan or a permanent move for the 23-year-old. But apparently, Goal can confirm that Arsenal are looking at Fekir as an alternative and have been keeping close tabs on him during his time with Real Betis. And for me, I'm all on it, man. If he can stay fit, 27 years of age, I'm sure he's got that healthy wanting to prove people wrong, because he didn't get that move to Liverpool, he didn't get that move to Barcelona, two teams he's been linked with before. Won't prove everybody's over his injuries. Obviously, he's adaptable. Like for me, I play him in the cam, but remember he could play out wide. He's still got a bit of pace, but I do think he's lost a couple of yards. But I remember before that injury at Lyon, this guy was breezing past, man. I'm all on it. I'm for it, people. I'm not gonna lie, I'm for it, man. It all depends on the fee, of course. And again, I'm for it because I know how good he is as a footballer. The numbers ain't really matching up, people, really. And if I look at it without my brain, I mean, with my brain and not my heart, probably stay clear. But I wouldn't mind getting both of them. Now, of course, I'm dreaming. If I had my wish, we'd have Fekir, Odegaard, and our people. With Torreira coming back to the team, potentially Guendouzi, I think we'd have to get rid of one, but the depth would be there. Again, him being linked with moves away from clubs, people, could be linked from a move from away from his club into clubs like ours. It could be for several reasons. As you lot have seen here, Real Betis have to sell some players this summer due to the financial impact of the coronavirus pandemic, and apparently Go have also said that they've learned they would be looking for around 26 million pounds, 30 million euros to part with Fekir, who has recently switched agents ahead of a potential summer move. Now, the only thing I could see with this is because if you've got an extra 26 million, 30 million to play around with, then I think you can go for it. At a time where Arsenal might not be in Europe, where we've mismanaged, but we need to watch every penny, I would rather try, assuming that it is this, I would rather put that 26 million towards getting a number 8 if Odegaard can't be kept, more so a number 8, maybe even a number 6, maybe confirming the right back spot, really. I would be up for Fekir as well, but I think he's one of those now where if you've got a bit of money to play with, you take a chance. You don't really make him a sort of target. Like I said, with them wanting to sell him, with it kind of being a decent offer, it would be half decent for him. Sorry, Arteta, you're not in relation to this. Obviously, he didn't move in 2018 to Liverpool. Apparently, this is probably the season I'm talking about, where he ripped up Barcelona with 7 goals and 4 assists in 31 apps, people. He did his thing, and so far this season he's got three goals and 5 assists so far this season for Betis. So it's not amazing numbers, but it's cool, isn't it? I don't mind Fekir. Obviously, the French ties and all those sort of things lean to it. And obviously, for someone that I keep mentioning injuries, you've been fit enough to play 25 games this season. So it's not really a thing like that. Like I said, for me, the ability to play on the right, on the left, through the middle, it's that sort of adaptability. Because like you've seen, we've gone with Smith Rowe and Odegaard, one of the two. Sometimes there'll be none. And there are many different variations. So saying that with injuries, he's more or less been fit, but he's had a little injury there that's kept him out. He's had a little injury there that's kept him out. He was left out the Barcelona game and Athletic Bilbao. So yeah, where did he go last season? What numbers did you do last season so we can see your durability? Last season, 32 appearances in La Liga. However much in all comps. So he's managed 57 appearances in La Liga. He's had a hand in 23 goals in all comps. People. In La Liga, he's had a hand in 23 goals when you consider 10 goals plus 13 assists. He's in 57 apps, so it's all right. Obviously, his numbers at Lyon are better. So yeah, he's done all right, man. And his numbers last season, 7 goals, 7 assists. I wouldn't be against it, people. I wouldn't be for it necessarily. I wouldn't be against it. And as you lot can see there, it's an alternative. But if in terms of alternatives, we've been linked with Tabala, Fekir now, linked with Odegaard again. Imagine we got all these players. We might be half decent, man. I don't blame you lot. With his injury record, I'm not on it. I don't blame you lot. Subi is saying he's still a very good player. Watched him this season and he's still techie. The ability don't go away, man. The ability don't go away, but he's had injuries. And sometimes when you get mad injuries, sometimes just getting back to fitness creates new problems. Like you see, you might be working on your hamstring because of that. There's a groin thing now. Like Emma said, there's issues in his knee, apparently. To be fair, he's done all right to squash that. But for me, fundamentally, it's just because of the adaptability and the fact that 27... I should imagine there's less of this need in time. There's more of a sense of urgency because I know he's reached the pinnacle of football, winning the World Cup. But it does feel like when you speak about Fekir, that there's an element of unfinished business there. There's an element of unfinished business in terms of where club football is concerned. People, I'm just trying to find where's that website Curtis bust me on where it used to let me see all the tactics. I can't even find it, so there's no point. But I wanted to play around with what you could do with Fekir and things in terms of where you could use him. But I'm all on the Fekir one. But I would really ideally want somebody younger, someone a bit more durable. Yeah, but if there was money to play around with and have half a chance, I'd describe it as an educated risk and an educated gamble. I wouldn't mind it, really, people. I wouldn't mind it. That's that in relation to Fekir, folks. What are you lot saying? I don't know, but I'd imagine not that many. I wouldn't mind Basuma, but again, Brighton are gonna ask for mad peas. True. It really is. A 10 for me, man. 10 for me, man. A 10 for me. Sandro has said, let me ask a question. Is it mad to think that people are overhyping the fact that we have a fully squad and we don't know what our best 11 should be, if you get what I'm trying to say? So what, assuming everybody's fit, it's a gift and a curse. The manager should kind of know what your starting 11 is, but at the same time, I like that problem, you know. I like week in, week out. Unless you prove it, is it going to be Lacazette through the middle? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? Is it going to be the other? So yeah, man, there's a fine line between depth and stockpiling, but yeah, man, might be coming from ignorance, but I'm not for Fekir. Fair play. You know, you don't have to. I enjoy everybody's diverse opinions. He wouldn't be extremely high up my list, but it's Fekir, man. I think on ability he is. With all the other variables, I'd rather stay clear, really. I wouldn't say the club's giving up on him. I've read quite a few reports. Some say that he's an alternative if we cannot commit Odegaard. Some say he wants to be signed regardless. I don't think we'll sign him regardless because there'll be an issue, man. We're still linked to Coutinho again. Joke stuff. You know we're not getting Coutinho. Like, it's a joke one, man. A man said, hopefully. That's sad. But yeah, man, we was linked with Higuain quite a lot. Somebody said, why not Asensio? We've got no chance of Asensio. That's right, unless they say he's going to sell him. But apparently he's highly rated by Real Madrid's players and also the coaching staff. So when you've got that, you're cool, aren't you? Really and truly. Please make sure you're running up the like buttons, people. I appreciate everybody that's been locked in on this Sunday. Where are we in terms of likes? 202 likes. That's half decent, people. You know, the goal was 100. So to know that we're there is half decent. So yeah, man. This is it because we've been here, you know. It was Partey or bust. Thankfully, the release clause helped us. We tried that approach with Aouar and we were left shortchanged, so we were in a problem. A couple of other stuff, people. I see again stuff that I haven't covered over the week, people. Let's look at Willian. Willian speaks on his struggles, people. Is the best way to call it that. Apparently Willian spoke on his struggles, people. So yeah, another goal.com one. Apparently Willian says Arsenal struggles were the worst time of my career, considering this is a man who's left Brazil as a young man to go to Shakhtar. He's dealt with the weight of expectations being at a title challenges in Chelsea, played for Brazil, you know, played in Brazil for Corinthians, I'm pretty sure, you know, again, quite damning. And considering this is at the end of your career, and let's be real, you know, I still don't think Willian is quite good enough. I still don't. He's one of those sort of form players with the Bellerins, the Xhakas, and many more. Louise as well, even Cedric, sadly, and many more, whether they're good or not players, that over a 38-game period, I don't know if I can rely on you. And we've got too many of these players in our team. I wasn't for the signing of Willian, but I didn't think he would struggle as much as he did. I thought the most he would do is frustrate. I thought he would be a competent option. I must admit, you know, while I still don't think he's the option, I'm happy with his form. I'm happy with what he's doing because he's making it harder for Arteta to pick his 11. And, you know, the one place I kind of feel more comfortable right now, generally for all of them, is the wide areas. You know, Martinelli, Saka, Pepe, generally there's not too much of a fallout who plays. Same can't be said everywhere. And at 30 odd years of age, if he was sadly mistaken for thinking this was going to be a holiday camp, he was anything but. But, anyways, he has opened up on the difficulties he's encountered during his early weeks of his Arsenal career. As you lot know, there was no need to give him a 3-year deal. You know, Chelsea, who have higher expectations, have had more proper success than us in recent years, were reluctant to give him. And he was a long time serviceman of them. And clearly, Lampard saw how vital he may or wasn't to their team. Maybe even with Tuchel right now, if he was there, he might have been used ahead of Callum Hudson-Odoi in that wing-back role, people. But they weren't giving him a 3-year deal, and we gave him a 3-year deal with an option of another one, and we've made it comfortable. And I'm not one to talk on next man's money or think that things are irrelevant, but when you have a player like Willian, the age he's at, the way Arsenal are at, and that sort of money and term of it, it's always going to be bad when he's not performing, and people always going to look at that. And the fact that he's an ex-Chelsea lad joining more ex-Chelsea lads, he's got a restaurant, and all he ever spoke about last season was how his family feel in London. It's going to rub fans up the wrong way and lead them to say stuff. And, you know, at times I do think he's been scapegoated, but more often than not, he's been really poor. And really, before he overtook his form, he was terrible. Let's be real. He's found some sort of comfortability on that left wing. You know, against Leicester, he was decent. He came off the bench a couple times in Europa, did all right, you know. But other than that, apart from the first game of the season against Fulham, he's been missing, really. And we all were prepared to, you know, at the very minimum, just go off what Edu said in that he's Premier League proven. And as we saw, Edu very much backtracked on them statements when he saw what time it was. Apparently, Willian, speaking to ESPN Brazil, said it was a really difficult start apart from the first game against Fulham, where I had a good performance. I set up 2 of the 3 goals. I managed to make a good game. Even after that game, there were some games that we won. I even had a good game, but we ended up getting a bad streak. I also got a bad streak. And I think my worst professional time to date since I went up at Corinthians and was sold to Ukraine. Then I arrived at Chelsea without a doubt. This phase that passed now was the worst time that I think I lived as a professional. And obviously you learn, you know, hopefully, you know, learn what went wrong, learn what you did right and wrong. Because one thing I give Willian, you did look like you were shot on confidence, but you must have kept some sort of self-belief, whether that's through Arteta or yourself. So use this period to reflect. And there's no point reflecting if you're not going to learn from it. I want you to learn from it so you're not that shit again. Pardon my language. Simple as that. Of course, when you live in a difficult moment, you get really upset and try to find solutions, a way to improve, try to help the team. That's what I've been doing all this time. I never stopped training to work, to dedicate myself as much as possible. It took a little while to leave, but lately in the last games, I've been playing well again, standing out with assists, playing well. So I'm happy to be back to find my good football. Fair play. We like that. I don't know how he was billed as a risk-free signing. There's always risk. You know, it's not just big money signings that are costly. You know, in his first 25 games in all comps, he's failed to score, people, and he's got 3 assists. 2 of those came against Fulham and one come as a cross against for Gabriel against Wolves. I could be wrong. To be fair, them sort of times there, your manager was harping on about playing consistent crosses into the box, so he did it. And it is what it is. And it was a double barrel, not just through Willian, but obviously when it's a bit like Bellerin, they become a figure of hate or attacked, because not only can you not understand why they're dropped when they're playing badly, but some people are playing well and not playing full stop, like Pepe and whatnot. Or some players are just not being given the same opportunities, and it is unfair. You know, Arteta did stand by you, and right now it looks well. Credit where due. We've been down a long road, playing forever at right wing, left wing, little trials up front. And lately, ironically, since you've been dropped, I think that's where it's kind of clicked into gear, and you was a bit of a, I won't say hero in the Europa League, but a hero, people. And again, I've always used Saka as an example because I said it before. Pepe should look at Saka and feel ashamed at that point, in a sense of Saka looks like the £72 million man. Willian should feel ashamed when he looks at Saka, because he looks like the 32-year-old that's won the Premier League, playing for Chelsea and however many caps at Brazil. Again, whether I rate these players or not, I don't think Willian, Bellerin, Xhaka, you know, David Luiz in terms of a new deal, Leno in terms of long term. I don't think many of these guys are how I want Arsenal to be in the future. But I can remove my opinion and give credit where due. And I want to be proven wrong with Willian. I want Willian to play well, because they're struggling for places. There's a headache for Arteta. And ultimately, the more players that are playing well, in theory, that should mean we climb higher up the table, people. You know. Is what it is. Is there anything else he said, people? To be fair to you, got to big up Willian. He's got 4 assists in his last 5 appearances for Arsenal. And I think the fact that Willian, Smith Rowe, and I think there's a next name up there, are all up there considering they've been in the team, either been in the team for 5 minutes, had injuries and lost form and found a purple patch. I think it shows how we don't all take collective responsibility. So the team's obviously taken a bit of a mini uptake in form, and obviously Willian has been part of that. So hopefully you learn from this, Willian, and quite frankly, it never happens again. That's all I want to see, because I've got little time for this when it happens. Not everyone can go through poor bits of form, but when it's experienced players that have played in this league, I don't have much patience, man. Is what it is in that regard. Let's put that to 27. I like Leno, man. I like Leno. It's not that I don't think Leno's a bad keeper. I just think Leno, he makes minimal mistakes. There's been several times where he saved us. Listen, Leno's proven me wrong in regards, but I think Leno's just proven me right in many regards, for my own personal opinion, in that I think he's a bit too eccentric. I don't think he's quite the goalkeeper I want. I do think at best he's a good shot stopper. There's too many issues. I do think we will get to, and I don't want this to be a thing, but I genuinely think we're going to get to a level with with Leno, where we've got the defenders, we've got the fullbacks, and we're looking at Leno and saying, what's going on here, really? But there's other people to replace ahead of him, man. I don't think he has to do it in the Europa. I just think he's got, well, yeah, because that's all that's left of the season. But I just think he's got to really play out of his skin. I rate it. Agendas, you see, I rate the agendas. I rate it, but it is what it is. So yeah, man. What's my thoughts on Pepe? I like Pepe. Wanting to starting a couple games. Really, think he's really buckled down a bit. Facts. Living up to your name, true say there, man. I wouldn't say it's a mistake selling Martinez, because I think when Martinez I don't think we should have, but if man wanted to go, the only thing I think there's a mistake is if Arteta is told, Leno, you're my number one, and Martinez, you're my number two. I genuinely think if it was a genuine general level playing ground where both of them fight it out, I think Martinez would have stayed, but I think he was abundantly told clear he's number two. Personally, I think that's the only mistake that we've made. And if he said he wanted to leave, then we can't keep people, really and truly. I do think with Martinez, every great game he plays, he gets a lot of praise, deservedly so. And Arsenal fans, not saying you, Omar, but a lot of Arsenal fans are quick to point that out. When he's making those mistakes, like against Spurs and that, nobody says a thing. It's not fun to poke Leno with anymore. So it is what it is in that regards. Of course, I would love Donnarumma on the free. He's a young keeper. He'd probably struggle initially just because of his age and all those sort of pressures in the Prem, not through lack of quality. So yeah, man. On that, yeah, it is what it is in that regards. In regards to Willian, so what? Fekir. Yeah, man, there's actually nothing else to speak about, really and truly, people. Do you think Sander Berge would be an ideal partner for Partey? Probably, but again, I think we need someone a bit more creative. Like, I want to get I want to get a number 8 there as well, man, as well as another number 6 sort of thing. So we can go with an 8, a Partey or Berge, and a 10 in certain games. We need different options. I don't think he's underappreciated at all. At least I'm not underappreciating him. I just think no one's above criticism, man. I wouldn't say I rate Leno highly, Lacazette the same, but I appreciate them highly, if that makes sense. Like, there's very few players I rate highly. Leno and Lacazette would be used in my team for the future. I know Lacazette's got his contract. I think there's several problems you could fix before Leno, but I do have my concerns. But definitely the other names, I'm all for them, man. There ain't going to be no buyback clause for Thomas Partey, man. I mean, not Partey, Emi Martinez, but it is what it is. This is it. So yeah, man. On that note, I'm gonna get out of here though, man. We've been just over an hour. I can't lie. I want to get some Sunday lunch. So yeah, people, please make sure you're hitting the like button. We're here already, so you lot can just see this. Apparently, Odegaard says Martinelli's a top player, and he backs him, people, and he's picked him as a player with a massive future, as you lot can see here, people. There's nothing really of note. I was actually not going to speak about that. That was just something I saw, and I thought, it looks pretty decent. Let me see what 2 pence Odegaard had to say, people, on Martinelli, because it helps our agenda as to why Martinelli ain't playing. But there's no reason to still be here, innit? I'd like to think I've given you lot some decent content in this hour and so. Please make sure you hit the like button. I'm not going to promise anything, but I might be online tomorrow if there's anything of significance to speak about. If not, the content will follow this week because it's back. Football's back on, and we've got Arsenal, Liverpool. Hoping to get a couple of Liverpool content creators there on the channel, get some Liverpool points of view and all of those sort of things. So look out for that. Please make sure you're following on Spotify as well as Apple. Links are in the description. Make sure you've hit the like and subscribe button. I'll definitely enjoy my Sunday. You lot enjoy what's left of your Sunday in whatever time zone. Big up you lot, man. And all of these things. But for now, people, I'm going to have to love you and leave you. I'm out.